If you found yourself all alone on a desert island, you might be pretty lonely. But what if you could make friends? Literally. There's one little lizard that has developed a way to populate islands in the South Pacific with an unorthodox method. But sometimes strange and amazing adaptations are what it takes to pass on your genes in life, death, and taxonomy. Bienvenidos a Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's 30 minutes of interesting animal information shipped directly to your ear canals. I'm Joe.
And I'm still wondering what you said at the beginning. I'm totally lost here. What kind of language is that?
I don't think that's true based on your name, which is
Carlos? Charles? Chuck?
Hispanic Charles.
Hispanic Charles. That's what my friends
Hispanic
call
at
me.
the Charles. And today we're talking about a strong, independent gecko who loves sailing and walks on the beach.
Sailing?
But more on that later.
I don't have anything in my notes about sailing.
Ooh, you're about to find some stuff out then.
Ooh. I also don't have anything about walks on the beach.
Well, that's implied.
A painting of a beach. You could walk on that.
I guess,
Sure
yeah.
it has.
Sure.
But we're talking about the if you said it, mourning gecko.
No, the mourning gecko.
Mourning
with the
gecko.
U.
With not the gecko that gets up at the crack of dawn.
No.
But the gecko that is
Wears all black and
constantly weeping.
has a veil.
That's the problem with this gecko, is it actually can't stop crying.
It's dehydrated.
AKA the lovely lady lizard.
Mm.
Actually, I said lonely lady lizard, but I can't even read my own handwriting. The friendly female fly feaster.
Good.
And then here's the coup de grace, the creme de la creme. The Sigma Psi Squamata sorority sisters. There we go.
Sounded like...
That was hard.
Okay. Cool.
Also known as the common smooth-scaled gecko, but that's boring and for researchers and stuff.
Common smooth-scaled gecko.
So let's find out where it lives in taxonomy.
Okay.
We'll start with Animalia, kingdom, and then we'll go on to the phylum, which is Chordata. And the class is we're right back to Reptilia. We don't do a lot of reptiles, but we're back to Reptilia. The order is one that we've riffed on many a time. Squamatopoda with you.
Oh, good.
Actually, it's just Squamata.
Okay.
Stomatopoda was what we said before.
Yeah.
The
Squamata is the one that the horned lizard is in.
Yeah, it's the biggest order of reptiles, I think. The family is Geckonidae, which of course it is. It's a gecko.
Okay.
Although there are geckos that are not in Geckonidae. The genus is Lepidodactylus.
That sounds like a spell.
I practiced that. And then the species is Lugubris. So Lepidodactylus lugubris is our binomial
Your
nomenclature.
lugubrious is showing. You're a little too arrogant right now. You're lugubrious.
You're a goofy lugubris. Or a little luguber here. All right, so we found out where it lives in taxonomy. Where does it live in the world, though? All over the place, turns out. Coastal areas in the Pacific and Indian Ocean. So it's got this really wide range, all the way from India to China to Hawaii to Australia, that whole area, and all the islands in between. And we'll find out how it's able to do that.
Geckos take the islands.
There's your song. You get your one. But they've also been introduced to Central and South America, which I guess is why you were speaking that ridiculous language from earlier.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. Spanish is not ridiculous. It's part of my heritage. I would never,
You also speak much of it.
Not much. I wouldn't
Some
even
of
say
it.
that. I did understand what you said, though. So,
Said welcome to.
making progress there. I saw it and on like a sign at Disney World when they said all of the welcomes, different kinds of welcomes. So it's like welcome and bienvenidos. I was like, that one's Spanish. All right, so diet. This thing eats small insects and plant nectar. And that's about all I can say about its diet. It loves to eat insects that are smaller than it, and that's pretty much across all geckos. A lot of them, what I'm going to say is across all geckos because with this particular gecko, the mourning gecko, there isn't a lot of info out there.
Although a tiny little gecko drinking from a flower sounds adorable.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Have you seen the photogenic gecko pictures?
No, but I have seen...
man.
Oh, probably. But I have seen a video of like 6 gecko like with their tiny little tongues lapping up some like stuff in this dish. That's pretty adorable.
That's pretty cute. Is it gecko or geckos plural? 6 gecko?
It's
six...
geckos.
I think it's geckos. We're going to call them goobers. Lagoobers. So, I mean, I guess I'm not even going to say it.
You want to know how big they are?
No, I
can
mean,
tell in your eyes.
I already know. I have it here.
But you want to be able to imagine it better.
How does anyone else know this?
Well, they'll find out with the listener's favorite part of the show. Say it with me now. Measure up! That was the opposite of harmonies.
We didn't practice.
Anyway, this is Measure Up, the part of the show where I pose to Carlos some questions that will illuminate the size and dimensions of this creature in relatable terminology.
We'll shed some light on it.
And is also a little fun quiz show. A little mini fun little quiz show.
Fun is...
Fun for me.
It's not the term I would use.
Fun for me and the listener. Well, some of the listeners.
Some of the listeners.
Let's start with length. It's about 10.5 centimeters. Do you concur?
Yes.
Which is about 4 inches.
4.1.
Yeah. How many mourning geckos go into the height of Jake Wood, the voice of the Gecko Gecko for 10 years?
Huh. Where's Jake Wood from?
He's from a TV show in the UK. I forget.
No. Oh, is he UK-ish?
Yeah.
Okay. Because he could be,
really good at accents.
Yes.
Would you like a hint?
No, because it's not going to help me.
This one will help you.
No, I don't believe you.
This one will help you.
You're going to say Jake Wood was like the actor for this thing. And also, he likes Sherwood.
No, he doesn't like Sherwood. But he was let go as the voice of the Gecko after 10 years in 2015 over a pay dispute.
Because of how tall he was? Does that help?
He's like,
Is that how this helps me?
I am this tall. I deserve this much money. And they were like, no, sir.
I am 6'2" and I deserve $6.20 for my contribution to your insurance agency.
I'll give you another hint. He's not that tall.
Really? Oh, okay. But your inflection might mean he could be taller.
He's not. He's shorter than that.
Okay, there we go. Because he could be 6'4", and he's not. If I say 6'2", he's not that tall.
Okay.
All right, so we got four. We'll round it down to 4 inches. Let's say he's 6 feet tall, which is just the average height of a UK-ish man, with maximum UK-ishness. And that's 6 times 12 is some number. 72? Yes, it is. 72 inches divided by 4.
The answer to that is 18. 72 divided by 4.
Okay. 18.
The answer... No, that's incorrect.
Oh, dang.
The answer is 17.5.
Oh, my gosh. Essentially correct.
Yeah, okay. Rounding up, then that's correct.
Yeah, that's right. Forgot about rounding because I'm not in 7th grade anymore.
Okay, let's talk about the size of the genus. There are 34 species in Lepidactylus. How many Lepidactylus genus sizes go into the total number of Gecko employees? Would you like a hint?
I didn't even hear your question.
I said, how many Lepidactylus genus sizes go into the total number of Gecko employees? Here's a hint. Gecko was founded in 1936 and is not a sponsor.
What is the genus size?
34 species. That's getting you?
Yes. Well, it's a big company.
Mm-hmm. They serve
They might have more
all 50 states.
They might have more than 30 employees.
I'll give you another hint. It's definitely at least one Lepidactylus genus size.
That makes sense to me. So let's say that they have 34,000 employees. That sounds like a lot. It's not like Walmart. That needs a lot more employees, right? Yeah, let's go 34,000 and clock it at 1,000 times.
Gecko has 38,000 employees.
What?
And the answer is 1,118.
What?
You were like right on the money with 2 of them.
That was crazy. That was a shot in the dark. No idea how much big companies have in terms of personnel.
That was just like a really convenient way to not have to do a lot of math. You only had to do times 1,000.
I do things by the power of 10.
But that's all I got. Just 2.
Sweet. And I nailed them. Rounding up.
Rounding up, yeah.
Rounding up. 34,000 is 38,000.
If you could round up from 1,000 to 1,100, sure.
Yeah. All right. So now we know how big it is, I guess. I also have a weight here, but that's for like the average gecko.
Okay.
Which is 2.5 ounces or 70 grams, but I don't have a thing for that.
That's a respectable size for a small lizard.
And it's going to come into play later on. It's a respectable size. No one's going to give me any respect unless I'm at least 70 G's. All right, so fast facts. Like all geckos, they cannot blink. Almost all geckos. I think only like 1 or 2 species have eyelids, but these guys are lagubers, cannot blink, and they have to constantly lick their eyes to keep them moist. Like disgusting animals. It's ridiculous. Evolve some eyelids. Goodness gracious.
They don't have time.
This is true. Yes, they do. Make the time. If it's a priority, make the time.
It's not a priority. They figured out a way around it.
By licking their eyes all the time, this just seems so labor intensive.
They've got flowers to suck on.
True. And bugs to eat and things to cling to. Speaking of eyes, they can
like
see...
hopes and dreams.
Yeah, cling to your hopes. Their hope of catching a delicious, decadent June bug.
Yeah.
Speaking of eyes, they can see 350 times better at night than we can. And they can also focus their vision without having to use their... Like, we use binocular vision to focus. They can do it with just one eye.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. They regularly shed their skin every 2 to 4 months.
Same, metaphorically speaking.
And then they eat their skin.
I've seen this happen. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, right?
How can you get nutrients from that? That doesn't even seem worth it. Like,
well, I mean, they're small. And that's like a good portion of who they are.
It's just a bunch of empty calories.
It's an empty skin, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's just a husk.
Well, they have to bite it off to get it off of them, and then what are you going to do, put it down? That's just calories wasted.
They might as well finish the job.
Eat the rest of themselves?
No, while they're eating. While they're biting their skin off, they might as well just, take a nibble here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they become addicted. They're just addicted to it. It's like My Strange Addiction.
It's like, Pika.
Yeah, it's like Pika. So they're also their teeth are regularly replaced, like alligators and sharks and things like that, making them, here's the word, polyphyodontic.
That's fun.
Which means that they constantly replace their teeth. We are diphyodontic. Can you guess why?
Because we only have 2 sets.
Very good. Very good. Did you have something to say?
Oh, I was going to say I want a necklace made of a little gecko tooth. I bet it's real small. I bet it just looks like a regular like band around your neck, and then you're like, what? Is there something real small and pointy on that?
But every once in a while, it just pokes you. Like, ow.
Yeah, like a little splinter.
When you wear a tie, it hurts. Their skin is ultra hydrophobic, meaning that so you have hydrophobic like materials and stuff where water beads up and rolls off.
Like a freshly waxed automobile.
Yes, or a freshly waxed
surfboard.
Gecko. Freshly waxed gecko. Wax your gecko. But with ultra hydrophobia, the water actually balls up. So there's if you see like a picture of it, it's not just like a dome. It's like the Epcot ball. Like it curves in on the sides, like almost defying gravity. And so like the surface tension is like maintained on the downside.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you can essentially witness something super hydrophobic becoming less hydrophobic over time when you wax a car. So you wax a car and the beads are very small, and the like you said, the bottom edges are curved in more.
Mm-hmm.
And as it wears off, the drops become like more dome shaped, and then the drops become bigger. And the bigger your drops are, the closer you are to needing to do another wax.
Interesting. I've never waxed my car in my life.
It's good. It's good for it.
Is it?
Stops the paint from becoming faded.
Yeah, but my car's white. Their skin is also antibacterial and antimicrobial. So yeah, their skin can kill some bacteria. And the big thing with geckos though is this last fact, and that's the fact that they can climb on pretty much any surface. So I have a picture, more like a drawing, of their hands. Look at the cute little, like, crazy pruny little hand.
Okay. Looks like crinkle cut fries.
Yeah. And they have 5 hands. 5 fingers.
Wow.
What I meant fingers. And at first they thought it was this thing called van der Waals force, which is if you get something really, 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 really close to another something, then there's this weak chemical force that sticks those two things together. And when I say really, really close, I mean like
molecularly.
The molecules are getting very close to each other. So you putting your hand on something does not, like on a wall or something.
You're not actually touching it.
There's some space there, but not. There's significantly less space for a gecko.
Okay.
And they also thought it was capillary action, but they now think it's more of like an electrostatic thing that's primarily sticking it, the gecko, to the wall. But it's also a combination of all those other things, van der Waals force and capillary action. Each toe is covered in setae because the lights go down in the setae. Setae.
You know what else is covered in setae? Bees.
Are they?
Their little fur. That's what it's made of.
It's called setae?
Yeah.
Interesting. They're like little bristles.
It's made of chitin.
It's like
chitin.
chitin, yeah.
Yeah.
So the setae allow it to cling to any surface because each square millimeter of a gecko's toe is covered in 1,400 setae. And each setae has 100 to 1,000 spatulae on it.
What?
And each spatulae is 0.2 micrometers long.
So that's a real small egg they're flipping each time.
It's the small spatula in the world. That is smaller than a wavelength of visible light. That's how small these hair things are on their toesies, on their tootsies. So I like, that's crazy to even imagine something that small. So that's why they can get something so close to glass or like concrete, metal, whatever, upside down. There's the spatula. The spatula can get molecularly close to whatever surface that they're clinging to. And so because of this, they don't actually. And this generates a lot of potential newtons of force of adhesiveness. There's a unit of measurement for adhesiveness, and I don't remember what it was, but it's a lot. Oh, they don't use all of it whenever they stick to a wall, because if they use all of it, they may not be able to get their hands off, because a typical healthy 70G gecko can support up to 293 pounds. So if it's sticking with all of its spatulae, you could hang a 293 pound weight.
I can
on that.
Jump up and grab it?
Yeah. I mean, you would rip the gecko. You would rip it off of its hands, but its hands would still be stuck there.
Dang it. I don't want to do that.
It would be awful.
I feel like it would let go before that happened. Like it would decide to let go.
Yeah. So, but in theory, with the amount of adhesive force that it can generate with all of its spatulae, that's how much it could support. And that's why they rarely use the full extent of it.
We should make duct tape with this technology.
They're making a lot of stuff with this technology. I mean, they're trying to apply it to a lot of different things. And in order to unstick, they use this fatty lipid that they generate that lubricates their spatulas, and then they can use their double jointed fingers to peel it from the tip of the toe back, like peeling off Scotch tape.
Huh.
And that's how they can move quickly and freely completely upside down on glass. And that... Oh, and they can't stick on Teflon very well. You know, like the pans with that special non-stick stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It has a very low friction coefficient because it's a non-stick pan. And so they don't do very well. They also don't do very well completely submerged underwater. But
okay.
Who does? Except for a starfish.
And all fish.
They don't stick to things very well.
Oh, okay.
Underwater.
Doing well in general. Having a good time.
All right, and that's all I've got on the general info on Laguber.
All right. I got 5 minutes to explain some complicated genetics.
You got more time.
Let's do it. All right. Mourning geckos are often found in all-female populations.
What?
How, pray tell, could this be, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. They're capable of something called parthenogenesis, which is a form of asexual reproduction that allows them to lay eggs that develop into embryos without fertilization.
Gross. Sounds like our snail, giant African land snail.
It might be similar.
Self-fertilized.
But it's not self-fertilization.
Oh, it's not?
To understand how this works, we are going to get science-y.
Oh, I have my science hat on.
So the difference right off the bat is that the snail was neither female or male exclusively, right?
Right, it could be either one.
The gecko is
finally
excessively female.
So female.
So normal eggs form after a process called meiosis or meiosis. I think meiosis. Meiosis is a type of cell division that reduces the number of chromosomes in a cell by half.
Okay.
So this is normal. This
Yeah.
is what people do. And most things.
This is what I try to do, at least.
This creates haploid cells, which are genetically different from the parent cells. So you got your diploid cells, which have all of the genetic traits of a parent, and then the haploid cells only have half of those traits.
Okay. Like a sperm and the egg?
Yes.
Okay.
Sperm and egg cells are haploid cells.
Got it.
This is why you don't look exactly like your parents. Instead of getting 100% of their DNA, you get a mixture of both of their DNA at 50% from each one.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes you unique. But what about the mourning geckos who have no male geckos to mix DNA with? Haploid cells on their own can't produce a new creature. That's why you're not eating a baby chick when you're eating an egg.
Ugh.
You're just eating half of the ingredients that are needed to make a chick.
Okay. Thank goodness.
However, mourning geckos produce viable eggs before going through meiosis. So usually things produce eggs through the process of meiosis. They're able to produce viable eggs before meiosis occurs, which is the process where a diploid becomes a haploid cell.
So it never becomes a haploid, it just becomes another diploid?
Right. It becomes an egg with all of the genetic materials needed to make another gecko.
But only of that parent.
Yes.
So it would be like a clone.
It is. It's through this type of reproduction, you're creating a full clone.
Whoa.
They're genetically identical to their parents. But you can't reproduce with nothing but clones. Genetic variation is important for adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
So creatures adapt to their environment by passing on, traits to their kids that are good, and, natural selection,
mm-hmm.
what have you. They end up adapting through differences in the gene pool.
Right.
And also, without variations, populations can mutate. There's two ways to vary genetic code. One is through a varied gene pool, and the other is through mutation. So
Okay.
mutation can be bad. But sometimes it allows you to drink milk even though you're not a baby cow.
Is that what we have?
That's a mutation, yeah. You're not supposed to be able to drink milk after adolescence.
We're mutants.
We are mutants. People that are lactose intolerant don't have that mutation.
So they're normal.
They're
people.
normal, yeah.
Good for them.
Haploid cells divide after meiosis through mitosis. This is a different type of reproduction that they do as well. So they can produce a viable egg before meiosis, and they can produce one after meiosis through this complicated process, which is essentially the diploid cells dividing into haploid cells through meiosis, like normal. Then those haploid cells recombine with each other,
Ooh.
basically mixing up the genetic material from the mother.
But it's all the same material.
It's all the same material, but you're creating new alleles.
That sounds like a thing. in genetics.
Essentially, it's like shaking it up. Like, it's all the same stuff, but it's in a different configuration, so it makes it unique.
It's a 7-layer dip, but now the layers are in a different order.
Yes, kind of. So it's technically a different dip. It's a different dip experience.
Yeah. But each bite is the same.
Yeah. But so these aren't 100% genetically different. They're called half clones. But it's just enough variation to allow for adaptation.
Interesting. And so that they don't all get wiped out by the same, like, disease or something like that.
Right. So here's some fast facts. Males are sometimes born from all-female populations. However, studies show that they are typically sterile.
And so then they just live their lives and die.
Yeah, eating bugs
That's
and
crazy.
stuff.
They probably don't even, like, know how to mate or anything like that because there's no, like...
Well,
they've been not doing that for so long.
Yeah, I don't know. The females might be like, what are you doing? Get away from me.
And he's like, well, look at my neck pouch. I don't think they do that.
They don't do that. So the process of parthenogenesis allows the mourning gecko to easily populate the islands of the South Pacific. A single gecko could populate an entire island by itself.
That is crazy.
But how did they get there?
The Spanish.
Through sailing. Not the Spanish.
Oh.
They hitched a ride on boats of island natives like Moana.
The real one?
Yeah, native people were island hoppers and explorers that colonized new places, and geckos were hiding in the bananas that they were taking with them. So
in this little cargo holds?
Yeah.
Away, away.
Yeah.
I am a gecko here, and I'm going with you to the island.
Exactly. Yes.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, thank you.
Little tiny stowaways. Yeah, that's how it worked.
Cool. I thought when you said sailing that they got on like little leaves and made their way across from one island to the next.
That is not what happened.
Somehow without getting gobbled up.
As a little disclaimer, that was a very, very brief and simplified explanation. If you want to learn more about the process of parthenogenesis, there will be links on ldtaxonomy.com.
But here's my question. Why is it called the mourning gecko?
Why is it called the mourning gecko indeed?
Aside from the fact that it's weeping constantly. And it has to lick its eyes.
Yeah.
It's just crying because it has to lick its eyes.
Not many people know, actually. I looked up why it's called the mourning gecko, and everyone's just like kind of shrugging. It was just shrug emojis everywhere.
As far as the eye can see. So it's just some, like, ill-meaning taxonomist back in like the 1800s was like, mourning gecko, that's what we're gonna call it.
Yeah, well, so there's one theory that is that the gecko is sad because all of the males are dead or gone or not there, so they're in mourning, like a widow. So it's just ladies, so they're in mourning for the male geckos.
I want to add another nickname to this, and that's Sad Sticky Lizard. There we go.
Although
that's actually my favorite one.
Although I think that they're fine with it. They're just like, all I have to do all day is eat and lay eggs and stuff, so.
Yeah.
I don't have to cook. I don't have to clean.
I don't even have to sail.
I don't have to sail. I'll just hop on a banana. Okay, that'll do it.
Well, these guys are pretty, or these gals.
Yeah.
Are pretty neat.
Excessively female in all the right ways.
Isn't Isn't that a Mary Poppins quote?
I don't think
Practically perfect in every way. That's what she says. Anyway, for you out there in Podcastia who are not a gecko, find a good pane of glass, flex your satay, and just stick to it, like we do here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy. Hey, check it out. I learned how to parthenogenically make more Carloses.
What? How?
See?
Ugh! How did you do that?
Through the power of audio editing.
Oh, well, that's not really...
You know what else could use some multiplication?
What?
Life, Death, and Taxonomy's reviews on iTunes and other listening apps.
That's true. A little review mitosis could help search algorithms find us, which means more listeners can find us.
Exactly.
This podcast is brought to you in part by the Brain Trust Brothers Network. For more information about this podcast or others, visit braintrustbros.com.
All right.
Oh, wait, let me put this in its place.
You are just a computer.
Stay in your lane, computers.